And go. All right. Good afternoon, Bob. How are you today?
I've been better, but I'm doing okay.
Okay, you've been better.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Still having some of those intrusive thoughts, about knives and stuff, getting fixated on those things, noticing it more when I'm kind of not occupied.
Yeah, so we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Some of those intrusive thoughts popping in. Um, how has your week went? Kind of on that topic.
Um, Trying to stay busy,
Okay.
trying to do more things to keep my mind occupied, but it's been hard because at times, I just I don't have things to do, so I just am like,
Yeah.
and I start to fixate, especially when I'm like cooking and things like that. I'll start to think about, when I'm cutting vegetables, I start to think about what it would be like if I accidentally cut my finger off.
Mm-hmm.
And it just causes me to start to fixate on that. And it's hard for me to snap out of it in the moment.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that you are having these intrusive thoughts, especially during certain points of your day. So when
Mm-hmm.
you're not busy or when you're in the kitchen where knives are around.
Right.
Does that sound correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you thought about hurting yourself at all?
I really don't. It's more about the thoughts of what would happen if. It's not really about the desire to want to hurt myself, but I get like really, I guess you could say when I start to think about it, I start getting really depressed, because I start to think about the pain and all that stuff. Um, and it's starting to spread now too, like to thoughts about something happening to my daughter as well.
Okay, so some of these worries are starting to spread to other aspects
Yeah.
of your life. You had mentioned about, um, your downtime.
Hmm.
What does that look like to you? Because I guess you had mentioned about staying busy.
Hmm.
So what does it mean to you to stay busy all the time?
So staying busy more is about just trying to do things around the house if I'm home, get some stuff done, fix things, do whatever. Um, Even reading, like even just trying to just keep my mind occupied. But even then, it's like it's hard because the reading is tough because I'm still kind of in my head,
Okay.
and so it's hard for me to at times when those thoughts come in, I can't break out of it even through reading. So really, it's more just trying to keep busy doing something where I have to focus on a task or a responsibility, like caring for my daughter or whatever. Um, that helps me to snap out of it quicker.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you can snap out of it quicker when you have a responsibility,
Yes,
such as your daughter.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And when I don't, then the thoughts just perseverate. They're stuck in there and they just keep going and going and going. And I have a harder time snapping out of it. So I don't know what to do in those times. That's where I'm struggling.
So what does it look like to you to have some healthy thoughts?
I mean, healthy thoughts are, what does it look like? I mean,
Yeah.
it.
Or what have you done in your life where you felt the best?
I mean, when I accomplish things, that's when I feel good. Like when I
Okay.
get things done.
Yeah.
Like whether it's work related, house related, family related, whatever. But just like when I can accomplish things,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I feel like really good. So, that's why I always try to have things to do, but that's not possible all the time. So I have to try to fill in those gaps, those downtimes with stuff that's going to keep me occupied and not perseverate on the knives and the cutting and things like that I get stuck on.
Right, because you've mentioned you're really not interested in hurting yourself.
Not at all.
It's really just the thought of what would this feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we've talked before, a lot of these thoughts kind of started really after I found my cousin dead, and that was very traumatic and very hard. And so I'm thinking that that is playing a role in why I get kind of stuck on things like that, because finding her was very traumatic
Yeah.
and very hard.
Yeah. And Bob, I feel like I'm hearing sadness.
Yes, I get very sad, and I don't think I've ever really grieved my cousin. We were very close,
Okay.
and I don't think I really fully grieved my cousin and her passing. Um, she meant a lot to me, and being the one that found her dead, lying on her floor, was extremely hard.
Yeah, that's
And
very hard.
so anytime I hear a family member has to go to the hospital for any reason, I get very anxious, I get very depressed, I get very sad.
Yeah.
And I think it all plays into what happened with my cousin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you say, that you've never really grieved the loss of your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
What does that grief look like? What could that look like to you?
I mean, for me, I think it's just taking that time to go through the steps. Maybe it's even crying.
Right.
Just I don't think I've cried about it. Maybe it's just about that, like just getting that emotion out. I can tell you I've kept the emotions locked inside because I just haven't had a place to let it out.
So what is it like to you to let yourself feel that?
It's very vulnerable and it's very scary because I'm afraid that if I let myself feel that, I'm going to really get stuck and really perseverate on stuff. And then I worry that that's going to turn to actions at that point because I'm going to be so low and so depressed.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is there is some depression and some sadness, and from, seeing your cousin pass away in such a traumatic way, that is hard for you, and that you're finding ways to kind of work on that.
Yes.
Process through that.
Yes.
So let's continue on next week with
Okay.
this.
Excellent.
And I'll see you then.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Mm.